Hello everyone, this is Catherine. Today we're going to talk about reality, perhaps a little differently than usual. Welcome to this reflection. We hold a deeply rooted belief that we all evolve within a world external to ourselves. We often talk about reality, the one and only, an objective reality common to everyone. Do you think there is a single objective reality, the same for all of us? You came here today looking for a distraction. You sat down comfortably, calmly, ready to listen to me present my idea. At first glance, you seem to be in a passive state. You are spectators. Look around you. What you see, the colors, the shapes, the light, the sounds you hear, to you it feels ordinary. It is reality. And yet, it is a film that your brain is creating right now. Let's look at a few examples. The colors you see do not exist as such outside of your experience. Our eyes detect light waves of different wavelengths through photoreceptors, which convert them into electrical signals. These signals are then sent to the brain, which interprets them to create the conscious experience of color. The same applies to light itself. Light is composed solely of electromagnetic waves, which, following the same principle, are converted into electrical signals and transmitted to our brain. What about the sounds you hear? They are pressure waves traveling through air or other media, and when these waves hit our eardrums, our brain translates them into a sound experience. In the absence of a brain to interpret those vibrations, there is no sound, only physical vibrations. You may be smelling odors, perfumes. Odors are created when molecules interact with the receptors in our nose, which then send signals to the brain. Our perception of smell is how our brain interprets the chemical composition of those molecules. You might be snacking on something. As with smell, taste results from chemical interactions with the taste receptors on our tongue, interpreted by the brain as sensations such as sweetness or bitterness. How does the temperature feel to you? Our perception of temperature results from the thermoreceptors in our skin, detecting variations of energy. There is no inherent hot or cold in the universe, only different levels of energy, which we interpret as temperature. Much of what humans perceive is the brain's interpretation of external stimuli. In this sense, the universe, as we live it through our senses, is a subjective construction rather than an exact representation of reality. What exists outside our sensory interpretation is a set of energies, particles, and forces, but we create a coherent reality based on the way our brain processes these signals. So, even when we find ourselves together in the same place, living the same experience, what you perceive is radically different from what your neighbor perceives. Each of you is living your own film. You might be thinking, all right, I perceive my own unique film, but why is it so different from everyone else's? Because that film depends on dozens of internal factors. For example, your physical state right now, fatigue, hunger, pain, your emotional state, fear, joy, curiosity, your mental state, attention, beliefs, expectations, your sensory abilities, greater or lesser sensitivity to sounds, colors, nuances. These factors modify the way you record your experience. So even if we apparently live the same moment, each of us creates a different experience of it. That means we don't simply undergo an external reality. We actively create it, constantly. We are the creators of our reality. Who thinks this is good news? Who thinks this is bad news? Again, that depends on your interpretation, your perception, your emotions, the degree of responsibility you are willing to take for it. Let's go even further. This present that we are creating is also the past and the future at the same time. You don't believe me? The past is not fixed. It is also your creation in every moment. We believe our memories are fixed, that they are the truth of what happened, a kind of neutral data recorded forever. But that's false. Every time you relive or tell a memory, you change it, depending on your state of mind at that moment, depending on what you've experienced since then, depending on whom you tell it to and in what circumstances, depending on the effect you want to produce. In other words, even the past is a living fiction. It keeps rewriting itself. The past is a perceptual experience in motion. So, what about the future then? We often believe it doesn't exist yet, that it's the great unknown, distant and mysterious. But in reality, we are already creating it. Right now, here, you are receiving ideas. Maybe something I'm saying resonates with you, or maybe it annoys you. Either way, it doesn't matter. What you are feeling now will influence your choices later on. In some way, you might start perceiving your film differently. You might become a slightly different movie director. Or perhaps you'll be a bit more attentive to the stories of others. The future is not distant or beyond our control. It is co created in the present through our intentions, emotions, projections, and individual and collective imagination. Maybe I give the impression that I'm manipulating your future, as if my words could change everything. But in reality, that would be quite pretentious of me. Only one person can change the way you think, yourself. Even if I can plant a few seeds, it's you who decide which ones will grow. You are the only ones who can decide what you will accept, what you will reject, what will resonate, and what will not find its place, at least right here, right now. Sometimes you reject an idea simply because it contradicts too deeply what you believe to be true, or because it touches a fear, a past experience, a conviction, and that's normal. What's fascinating is that even right now, each of you is creating your present, what you feel now, the opinions you form, your past, because this moment will become a memory, and your future, what you will choose to do with it. At every moment, you make choices, your opinions, your reactions, your actions, you choose them. You are never passive. You are always creating your reality. And together, we are writing our collective story. Because every individual choice has ripple effects. What you think, what you express, what you choose, all of it influences the people around you, and those people influence others in turn. We are interconnected, not through technology, but through our sensitivity, our emotions, our shared stories. What truly connects us are not our opinions. It is this capacity to recognize ourselves in one another, to admit that our universe is not only around us, it is also within us, in ourselves, in our consciousness, in the way we feel, interpret, and imagine the world. Our reality begins inside each of us, and precisely because it is internal, it can neither be automated nor externalized. Each of us is an essential part of this collective reality. So perhaps the first thing to do is simply to ask ourselves these questions. What is the story we want to tell? Which direction do we choose to take? And what role do we wish to play in it? Because the future, our future reality, whether we want it or not, we are already writing it together. See you soon. Take care. Bye.